Well, me and Luke were talking about ways that we can improve the party is maybe reaching out to more minorities and youth. Because like myself, most minorities are going to hear liberal propaganda and they're going to believe it, which I did believe. I was a big Democrat actually till like 3.5 years ago. And unfortunately, most minorities will not do their homework when it comes to politics because they've been fed the same stuff their whole life. So I just want us to think about maybe not just at the county level, at the state level, just think about doing a program to reach out to the minorities and the youth that unfortunately will not do their own homework on this stuff.
Get your kids involved. Because I didn't start getting involved till my mother actually took me to the General Assembly to get a bill passed because we were homeschoolers at the time and there was an issue in the state where a mother had gotten in a divorce and the husband was, there had not been a decision as to what the custody would be for the children. But the children were still homeschooling. Now the mother wanted to keep them in their education, but the father wanted to put them in a public school near his location. So there was a debate over which parent would get which education for their children. Well, we went to our legislators and whatnot, and David Rouser, surprisingly, was the guy who listened to us and put the bill on the floor. Granted, the bill did not pass, it was tabled, but that whole experience got me excited, got me interested, and it was because my mom took an initiative. So if you have kids or grandkids, I would just highly recommend that you bring them to stuff like this, even if they're bored out of their minds. Take them to the General Assembly and get them to meet their representatives because that's what motivates us to get involved, is to see their parents, get them involved, you know. So that's all I gotta say.
Good advice. Quick question for the guys, if I could. Great ideas, bring them here, get them involved in General Assembly. What do we say to the minorities? What do we say? I know how to talk to adults.
Right.
I'm kind of good without talking to kids.
Right.
When I left the house, I was pleased, and I'm even more pleased that they're still gone. But
Right.
you don't know my daughter, do you? They're being grandkids and keep coming back. But so how do we talk to? What do we say? What's their yeah, okay, I don't like saying taxes. You talk to me about taxes.
Yeah.
I'm up. What do we talk to youth about?
Well, you know, for me, some of the biggest issues are taxes, because I work on minimum wage, so I have to pay taxes. But another thing is, if you introduce them to people like us, their peers, it gets them the notion that, hey, this isn't just an adult thing. This is a youth thing. You know, there's all of us. We're sitting back there. And we have more students who are involved too. So if need be, you could try to contact our chairwoman, Caroline Holler, and she can definitely talk to your kid or just acquaintance and introduce them to us. And we'd be more than happy to invite them over and talk with them, get to know them, that sort of thing. And if that fails, just bring them, just drag them in or something. Find out when the next TARS meeting is.
Go hook them.
Yeah, that's right. We'll get them. Because we do lots of fun stuff nonchalantly and off the side. Just go ahead.
I think one of the main things, in my opinion, that you can talk to youth about is we've got a $17 trillion debt that's going to be there when you're dead and I'm dead, and it's going to be hanging on these kids. It's going to be up to them to pay that debt down. And I don't think the teenagers, most teenagers outside of our kids here, really even think about, you know, they've got, I mean, you know, the United States government has put about $250,000 debt on every teenager in this country that they don't even realize. You know, as conservatives, you know, we're the only ones that are talking about the debt. And what we've got to do to bring that debt down or cap it and grow the economy, that's something the Democrats want to talk. All the Democrats are talking about are entitlements, gimme cracks. And that's where it's really hard as conservatives and Republicans to really talk to kids. But the thing has worked for me is talking about the national debt. And because that really hits them when you say, you realize, you owe about $250,000. To the federal government just in debt alone. And they don't, and then that kind of opens up the door to talking about, conservative philosophy. So that's something that's worked.
I think
Worked for me.
Also, when you talk to the minorities and youth, education is pretty good, because I know a lot of youth who are not educated, they actually think Abraham Lincoln was a Democrat. And it's not even that bad. Some people didn't even know that Alaska was a state and that was a own country. So I think like education is pretty good, and also there was a black guy in Louisiana. It was a very, very poor neighborhood, and he was running for some local seat, and he almost won. And the way he won, the only message he had was, "There's no jobs here." So I think pocketbook politics, as you guys know, actually does work. And also the student loan debts and all that stuff, like they know that like getting out of school, they can't pay for school. So just have to just know that you know their struggles, and that usually works.
The other thing you want to maybe look at is the devaluation of the dollar.
Yeah.
Because with all the money printing, number one, the debt, which was brought up, that's hanging over all the young generation, its head. But the devaluation of the dollar with the amount of printing that is going on, and the fact that they claim we don't have inflation, except the old foggy politicians are not going to the grocery store and see what it costs in the living and what's happening with the dollar.
They don't figure food and transportation costs into the rate.
Anymore. They used
Oh,
to.
don't
Good
worry,
for
they'll
that.
change it again. Just to make it, look at the unemployment figures. Are the people that fall away not drawing anymore, are they counted? Hell no. So it's a numbers game that the politicians put down on us and think we're a bunch of dummies sitting out here. But if you're in business, you see exactly what's going on. Now, if you work, have a job and maybe work for somebody, you may not pay attention. But when you're in a business, it's a whole different ballgame.
So is the NSA, the privacy issues,
Yeah, actually.
giving away the internet?
If you saw the polls, there's a lot of polls out there that the youth, specifically the youth, really hate the NSA, and actually, the polls for Obama has went down for the youth because of the NSA program. So if you just educate them and just take it to a generational thing, just say like, Snapchat and Twitter, whatever people go on, like just say that Obama's watching that or something, they'll listen to you once. Once you just not get down to their youth level, and
I mean, if they don't like you as a parent watching what they're doing on the internet, they probably don't like the government watching what they do. So that's a good point. Privacy is a big issue.
Tom, I have to be somewhere. Sorry I got to leave, but I noticed on my young friend's shirt a torch. And I'm proud to say the Godwin torch has been picked up by my grandson, Colby Godwin. He's one of the young Republicans. I'm very proud of him.